even though there are people in my life and in our immediate family, as you and I have, say, private conversations that might be like, this is hard and this person really hurt us, as much as we want to call that person all bad when we're angry or whatever, they're not.
Yeah.
That is something that's really important when we talk about generational trauma and when we talk about healing. And I'm not talking about not holding people accountable. I'm not talking about not setting boundaries so that we can protect ourselves. I'm not talking even about having a relationship with that person.
Mm-hmm.
It is okay for you to no contact, cut that person completely out of your life so that you can have emotional peace. That is okay. As long as in that decision for your own healing, you are still seeking to understand why that person is the way they are, so that you are educated, so that you understand, so that you can pass better things on to, your children, nieces and nephews, whomever. It's just really important not to look at it in a black and white way. You can still have no contact. You can still set those boundaries. You can still
Mm-hmm.
not have a relationship with that person because you can't trust that you're safe with them. But it is important that we are seeing that person as a complete person so that we can learn.
Yeah, and I'm suddenly just reminded of a quote. This is from Rainer Maria Rilke, who's a famous German poet. Perhaps everything that frightens us is, in its deepest essence, something helpless that wants our love. And I don't know, maybe that's too optimistic, but seeing damaging people as purely monsters is not a good way to approach understanding humans.
It isn't, and it also is not a way to heal mankind. Ideally, as civilization progresses, we are able to offer the next generation something better.
Hmm.
And if we ever hope to eradicate a personality disorder like narcissism, yes, there's some hereditary stuff there, but also there is some childhood trauma that occurs very early that threatens that person's sense of, again, not an expert, but sense of safety, like emotional safety. Somewhere in there, that person stops believing that they have inherent value. They have to constantly prove it. They develop a big ego, and a lot of life becomes performative at that point. They are wonderful to people when that serves them, but if it doesn't, they will do
Hmm.
whatever they need to protect themselves. It
Hmm.
becomes at times very scary. Narcissism, there's a spectrum. All of us fall on it somewhere. Like we
Hmm.
all have narcissistic tendencies, some
Yeah.
with more than others. It is possible to start recognizing them and
Hmm.
healing from those narcissistic tendencies once you understand them. But on the extreme end of that spectrum, there are those who have diagnosable narcissistic personality disorder. It is very difficult for them to
Yeah.
change. It's very difficult for them to heal because the very nature of the challenge that they have is antithetical to them recognizing their own faults.
Yeah.
And I'm just using NPD as an example. If we are going to heal mankind and say potentially eradicate something like narcissistic personality disorder, we have to fix how we view ourselves, mothers, fathers, how we view
Hmm.
ourselves, which fixes how we treat our children. Have to be able to recognize trauma for what it is so that we can understand its impact rather than saying, well, that's not trauma. You were never a soldier.
Yeah.
That's not accurate.
Hmm.
Like trauma is trauma, whether you received it in a war zone or whether you were in the next room when your mother was getting beat up by your father and you were little and you were listening to the screams. That is trauma,
Yeah.
just like a returning soldier that went through war. So if we are going to heal mankind, and this is just me, my philosophy, my thinking about the world, if we look at people that have, say, narcissistic personality disorder, if we look at people who do harmful things to others as all bad, it's easy to write them off and say, well, they're just evil,
Yeah.
without recognizing that all of us have the ability to do harmful things to others.
Mhm.
And all of us have the ability to do good things for others.